Hey everybody, this is H.J. Dunmore and I'm here with Mark Cersosimo. This past weekend, really had a great experience here in Baltimore, Maryland. We're actually at Federal Hill, which has a great overlook of Baltimore. We'll let y'all take a look at that shot. And just in that shot, just reflecting on the past experience over this past few days of Baltimore, we did what's called backpack video production, which basically is all of the equipment that you need. You can pretty much place it inside of a small bag and you can produce quality content. When we were talking about the different approaches to production, some people, they bring backpacks and huge tripods and lights and all those kind of things. But when we were walking around, you packed pretty light. Yeah. But the content that you produce from it looks just as good as the folks that are producing with all this stuff. So with packing light, like for a production, talk to me and us as viewers as well about what you will bring for a basic backpack production.
I generally just bring one camera, maybe two cameras. They're both super small. I generally love to shoot on my iPhone. I love to shoot on my little Sony RX100 IV, and then I have a Sony A7S, which I try not to bring with me just because it's so expensive and precious.
Yeah.
And also some of it is to basically prove a point to everyone who's just like, oh, I want to make this, I want to make that, but I don't have the equipment. Like, you don't need equipment. The best camera is the one you have with you.
The productions that I've seen that you're doing, you have really driven with hip hop type of music, and hip hop, upbeat, up tempo, and you can feel the music, but it's like when you look at it, you can feel the picture and the music. It did two things. One, it brought me back to that point, but also inspired me to the point like, man, I want to get back into that mix. So it's really cool. So as far as the process, does the picture influence the process for picking the music, or does the music influence the pictures, or is it a point where they kind of work together? How does that process of pictures and music work with your edits?
Ideally, I love to find a song ahead of time. So every quarter I make a brand new video of all the contents on my phone and my cameras. And before that quarter starts, I try and find something that I'm really attracted to and it sounds really good and I think would go well with my editing style. And then when I go out and shoot, or like if I'm going on a trip or something, that's usually when I'll find a song ahead of time. And then as I'm shooting, I'll listen to that song all the time and keep that song in my head as I'm shooting, and I'll know like at what point in the song like this shot would be good for, or this shot.
Right.
And then I would also I sort of know, I shoot ahead, thinking ahead of time of how this will fit within the song.
Okay. So kind of doing the shoot for the edit.
Yeah.
Or in this case, shoot for edit, but also shooting for the music.
Exactly.
Definitely.
Yeah.
For those folks that will be looking at your videos, looking at some of the content that we produce, you produce, I produce, the different things, and they look at it and they may say, well, this stuff is nice, but I can't necessarily do that. What do you say to that person that's looking to get started production? They understand how to expose the camera, but it may not necessarily be to what they feel is up to par.
Right.
What advice would you give to them?
It's all about practice. Just keep shooting every single day. Eventually you'll find your style, you'll find something that works for you. And you have to start somewhere, find someone you admire, someone whose work you really connect with, and then just try to emulate that to the best of your ability, and then slowly over time it'll turn into your own thing and you'll get more comfortable with it and just go from there.
Makes sense. Yeah. So finding that style that you feel kind of matches what you're approaching towards in your own style. Right. And I would say also with that, sometimes people will look online to find out who's the person with the most YouTube hits, but just as we were talking about music and stuff offline, sometimes the best producing of content isn't the most popular. So there's some folks that are YouTube geniuses as it comes to editing and creating stuff. Vimeo as well, we see folks online, but we never, they may not have the most hits, so we may miss it. So sometimes as far as finding that inspiration, it may come from somebody that, that isn't as well known. So again, Mark Cersosimo, Baltimore, Maryland, videography, production, filmmaking, backpack video production. It's been a great experience. Make sure you check out his stuff online on Vimeo. Information's down here at the bottom of the screen. Make sure to stay tuned and stay inspired, and definitely stay creative. Take care.
Thanks.